We are back with another Artist Series interview, and today we are joined by Richmond native Miles Hopkins. He's an entrepreneur, storyteller, and co-founder of 3TV. From film and digital media to community engagement and the arts, Miles is helping shape the next generation of creativity in RVA. Welcome, Miles.
Wow. Are you sure you got the right guy? I don't know if all of that's
That's
me.
all you. That's all you. I did my research. That's what you've done. Thank
Hey,
you
I'm
for
doing
being
great.
here.
Very yeah. So
Thank you for being
I
here.
think a lot definitely speaks to a good deal of what I do. So you've definitely done the research. And yeah, I've probably been in Richmond too long, but live and breathe it. So happy to still be serving the community.
It's a great place to serve. Okay, speaking of Richmond, we know you're a Richmond native through and through. How would you say growing up in RVA has influenced your creativity and the work you do today?
So kind of I was born in North Side and then moved out to East End, kind of right outside of the proper city limits. And I think I saw a good mix of like really gritty art from a few different pockets of the city, from maybe like high school to college age. And it inspired me because I think Richmond, a lot of people that are here are like, yeah, it's so diverse. And I think, again, that kind of speaks to the different pockets. So seeing all the different pockets here was really cool. I was able to kind of carve out a lane of stuff that I just really enjoyed doing that I hoped somebody would also like. And yeah, there's a really robust and ever changing audience here. So um, I've had a little bit of fun doing everything from like, music production, performing music to then doing some film production stuff and been running in similar circles this whole time. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I think all of those things that Richmond has to offer, sometimes they go overlooked, being able to do film, the art scenes, the murals that we see, the music that's happening there. So that's wonderful. So I know you went to VCU where you
Yeah.
stepped into media and technology. So what you told me about kind of growing up on both sides of Richmond, but what drew you to storytelling and production?
So I've been, as you alluded to, I have a production studio that I started with my brothers, and I've been working with these guys since we were this big. We used to make like home movies. So I've always been a bit of a storyteller. I think I've always had like a desire to say, hey, I have this idea, and now I'm going to take these things in front of me and make so formally being trained on like communications and comm arts and stuff like that at VCU was mission critical because you get the formal side of it, but it also just let me explore all the different mediums that I would then fall in love with even more, um, from some of the things that you mentioned to some other crazy stuff that I've tried. So.
That's exciting. I think sometimes when you're like artistic, people try to say, "Oh, I don't need school, I can learn on my own." But it's also great to kind of see the variety of things in the arts that school can expose you to. So you
Absolutely.
mentioned, thank you. You mentioned 3TV. You worked on films, documentaries, commercials, many types of digital experiences. Is there one project you would say that really helped shape you creativity?
Wow. I like the framing of that question, and I think my own work, being a music producer was probably the like medium that I loved the most for the longest, and that involved a bit of graphic design for whatever thing, and maybe even dabbling with doing some motion graphics, some video work to accompany the music. And even again commissioning people to do that type of work, graphic design and video work for me, kind of gave me some producer experience from like a media production standpoint, not just like music production, and so that let me wear multiple hats. And then again, I think I've heard people say that you reinvent yourself maybe like every 10 years or whenever you fall in love with something again, in a whole new way. And so producing music, no particular project I'd say, but just producing music maybe has been the one thing that's helped shape me. Um, yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. You know, a lot of people you meet, they don't do both. Like, I feel like when I do music, when I make songs, sometimes I can kind of see the visual in my head, but I'm not quite sure how to go about that. But you being a person that also makes music and you can make films, how would you say they impact each other? Like, what idea do you start with? Do you ever hear music and you're like, oh, I can see the visuals, or you see a visual and you're like, okay, I know what I can make for this musically?
I think it can be either or with like music and videos. It's not always like a chicken before the egg situation. You might see something that inspires something sonically or vice versa. For me, because I loved producing music, I would find myself kind of inspired by a video to create a certain feeling with the music, and then that piece itself will probably inspire its own video because it's an interpretation. It's not it's not like I captured that moment. So yeah, that hopefully that kind of answers it. I think it depends on which one you want to be the guiding inspiration, and for me, it was typically um, a sound that I was inspired by, and then I would go and make music, or in a video that I was inspired by, and then I would go and make music, and then I want to do a video that matched. But there's like and it's not just synesthesia, but I think there's a type of person that you can listen to someone else's music and you have an idea of what the video should be in your own head. And so I've always had fun doing that as well. So it's not like I only like videos for my music. I envision videos for most songs that I listen to that I enjoy. I have an idea of what a music video for it could look like. Um, so yeah,
Ooh, okay, that's special. Okay, that's a gift right there. Okay,
yeah.
so what are some inspirations of people that you kind of look up to that do this sort of work?
Um, so I have some favorite music producers, and in no particular order. I'll limit it to three. My music's probably most inspired by Pharrell, Kanye West, and then Timbaland. Both that well, if you know, you know, but two of those artists are Virginia artists. So, and I don't think I necessarily um they were from a different region. So it's not like I say like, oh, we pull inspiration from the same space, but it's really cool that we are from the same state. And those are people that inspire me music wise. And I think on the video tip, um uh Hype Williams is like really cool. And that's like a OG. So like Hype Williams would be like a OG inspiration, and a more modern inspiration. I think Ryan Coogler is pretty cool. There's a bunch of people, and there's some people kind of even, not at those levels of stardom that I'm inspired by as well. People that I've been fortunate enough to work with on certain stuff. So and I cannot start name dropping because then I'll forget, and then it'll be and the list will be very long.
And then people be mad at you and they be like, I heard your interview, you didn't shout me out.
You feel me? And I can't have that. I won't do that to us.
No, but that's an amazing list, especially, yeah, Virginia and the 7-5 and all that music that's come from there and the creativity is something in the water.
Hey, you said it. You said it.
I think we have it in Richmond. They just kind of overlook us a little bit, but whatever. Um,
I said.
okay, so you've worked in Richmond City Council office focusing on community engagement. So how has that experience changed the way you think about connecting with people?
Again, great question. I think my work at the city, it was really inspired by really me being a community member that saw different ways that either the city was doing some things cool that were not, being highlighted, or things just weren't happening, and the community was responding. And then being a city employee, I now see the complexities of there's truly they teach us, like, and I forget what class they teach you, but there's checks and balances. So people think that government can just do whatever, but when you peel back the layers, it's like, no, actually, it's two people. One person acts to do something, and they have to get a whole other team of people, aligned with that vision to actually do it. And I guess to put it succinctly, the way that the city of Richmond, working here, has helped reshape the way, I think about engaging with people. I think there are certain things that government should do and certain things that government shouldn't do. And I can, without getting too political, say that we all have responsibility, city employees and regular people, we all have responsibility. And the way for us to fulfill this responsibility will be working with each other. Um, and everybody stepping up and being open to working with each other, because we all call this place home. Yeah, I used to be someone that, in transparency, I used to be someone that would be like, this is all BS, like it's a bunch of people that have agendas, or people that don't care. And it's really more complicated than that. At times, it can be reduced to these people don't care enough. You can always kind of reduce it to that, or they don't have enough power to do what some people might want them to do. But yeah, man, it's wicked going from, I wouldn't say being disenfranchised, but kind of being a healthy skeptic to now being an actual government employee, and seeing some of the inner workings, and what it takes to keep everybody happy. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but what a great perspective to share, because I feel like so many people are kind of skeptical of government, and it's easy just to say, oh, they aren't doing anything for us, or these programs aren't working. But now
Yeah,
that you work there, you kind of get to see, like, oh, this just didn't get approved, or this person is fighting for this, or it's so
yeah,
complex in the layers. And so to be able to share that, it can encourage someone to say, okay, let me see what's really going on here, versus just saying, oh, they don't care.
absolutely. And if I may, I think that's one of the big things that I guess would call a takeaway from my experience working, is that if you care, you should get involved. That's part of the reason why I ended up here. I didn't end up here because I set out to be a government employee. I actually kind of hovered around this space by being involved with nonprofits, and then getting an opportunity to be more involved through a direct partnership with the city that turned into me seeing and wanting to be playing a bigger role as a city employee. But it was not coming from a place of me wanting to work for the city. I just wanted to help people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's another good point, because so many people, it's easy to complain. It's hard to actually get up and say, okay, let me do something about this issue that I'm
Absolutely.
seeing. So people out there, go make the difference that you want to see. I love
Yeah.
that perspective.
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
we kind of hit on this. Yes, I love it. We kind of hit on this talking about Virginia artists. But when we think about Richmond specifically, what do you think makes RVA and their artists and storytellers different? What sets us apart?
Mm. So everyone's different based off. This sounds so basic. I'm gonna scratch that part of the statement. What makes the Richmond people unique is the set of things that you have to be in Richmond to experience, and how those things can leave a fingerprint on the art that you make while you live here, while you are passing through here. So that's the simplest way for me to put it. And I don't think it's like a profound like difference between a Richmond sound and a Tidewater sound. Well, some could debate that. Some could debate that actually. So I'll stop there too. But I think there's a unique set of things that you can be inspired by here in Richmond. if you are, you know, kind of deeply rooted in community. If you are just transient, then it might not really impact your music. But if you're, you know, deeply rooted in community, you might start to, again, have notes of that in the art that you make.
Yeah, so true. We have like the church community, and then
Yeah.
there's like a whole group of musicians from VCU and downtown, and they're gigging and they're, collaborating and coming together. So people
Yeah.
from all over kind of moving in and out, but also what they make while they're here and how that adds to the music. It's amazing. Okay. You mentioned nonprofits. You got a lot of stuff going on. You're very busy all across the board. But I
Oh,
know
man.
that you are on the board and the committee for Gallery 5. So,
Mhm.
what excites you most about that, and how is it shaping their next chapter?
Oh, yeah, I love this. So, I mean, I have the um, distinguished honor to be on the executive board of Gallery 5, which is an arts organization that's existed in Richmond for years, literally decades, like 2005, right? And to a previous question of like, how did Richmond shape the art that I make? Everyone knows First Fridays, Gallery 5 was like integral in getting First Fridays started. I, in fact, have enjoyed many of First Fridays in that space prior to actually being involved in this capacity. So it's really cool to kind of like help support that type of, um, help facilitate this type of incubator space that I know other creatives will be passing through and then developing their own taste and stuff like that. Like that's really exciting. Um, so that's what excites me about, you know, just keeping paying it forward. I think that when you are a part of an altruistic organization, that is truly centered on serving people, in its proximity, you know, not to say that nationwide orgs don't really, you know, it's whatever. But when it's something that intimate, it's like, again, it's a really cool responsibility you have. And it's a really great opportunity for you to pay it forward, directly to the community that probably shaped the way that you are. So I owe it to Richmond, and Richmond owes me nothing. So hopefully, the work that my fellow board members and team members at Gallery 5 and I are doing is really just helping keep Richmond funky, creative, quirky, edgy, and welcoming for people exploring those different niches.
Next time somebody asks me to describe Richmond, I'm gonna go funky, quirky.
Edgy, yeah, yeah, and I mean, yeah, and gritty. You know, it's you know, to your point of like kind of like these some VCU students, and I would say then they're up the street. So if you're a VCU student, you're up the street from like a really vibrant rap community, right? In, you know, downtown area. And I've literally been to jam sessions where like I used to spit, you know what I'm saying? And my guy, shout out 50 N, he brought me around these cats and we just had like they all just brought out instruments and we're just in someone's like house just jamming. And I'm like, I don't even make this type of indie rock rap music, but it was a vibe, dude. And so yes, Richmond's all those things. It's edgy, quirky, funky, gangster, smooth.
Gangsta smooth.
Yeah.
100. Okay. Okay. What advice would you give to a young creative in Richmond?
um I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier today, and he told me, you know, having the audacity is the reason why we are here, like he and I. And I believe yourself too, right? You have to have a certain level of audacity to go for some of these things that we've done. And I know a lot of people kind of feel like you have to be in a competitive space to really challenge yourself. Um, and I think Richmond's a really cool space where you can challenge yourself to say, like, yo, what if you're here, find a lane. Just find a lane. You may be amazed with what lane you find, um, and get comfortable in, but find a lane because there's definitely space for that here, and have the audacity. And again, I would probably say this to anybody that creates anything on earth. But if you're here in Richmond, you know, do that. Do that.
Okay, have the audacity. I like it. And I think what's special about Richmond is that it's not an industry city in the way that like New York or LA is, but that gives you more space to build out the things that you want to see.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I mean by this. Like, I think some people, we have I would imagine you were probably in 10 or so years ago hearing a lot of conversations about, oh man, I'm gonna leave Richmond and then this is gonna happen for my career. I'm gonna leave this thing, this space, and that space over there is what's gonna really do it for me. And I think you and I both probably had a great deal of success right here. So it doesn't exactly, you don't have to be one of those big industry cities to find a lane and have a degree of success and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Before we get into our rapid fire questions, I just want to say I think what makes your story so special is that everything you talk about is not, you're not giving an outsider perspective. These are things like you talked about First Friday and Gallery 5. It's something that you were a part of, you visited, you supported, you knew the benefit it could have on the community, and then you joined it. You are an active community member doing nonprofit work, and through that work, you're like, okay, I'm going to work for the city and continue to do this work. So I think it's just so important. It's easy when you're an outsider and you're looking at the problems and you say, okay, I want to come in, I want to fix this. But it's different when you're someone who is a part of a community. You can see the good, the bad, and you can be an active part in making it better. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're
And my
welcome.
one response to it would be, there's a quote I'm inspired by to say, the people closest to the problem are often closest to the solution. And so,
Mm,
again, to your previous point, if you care about something, get up, go get involved.
I like it. Okay, rapid fire. Coffee or tea?
T.
Mm, interesante. Okay, favorite RVA spot?
Oh, geez. All right, put a timer on me because I'm struggling. Uh, uh, okay, let me. Mama J's.
Okay, okay. I know Velma Johnson and them. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, who's at the top of your playlist right now?
Top of the playlist right now, and I think is Lucky. Uh, I'm listening to some R&B right now. Dwelle.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I told you I'm going through a breakup and Party Next Door.
okay. You gotta have the soundtrack right for that.
That's I couldn't lie about it.
Okay, yeah. What is your dream creative collaboration?
Myself and then direct myself.
Okay, I like it. That's different. Okay, last one. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl, night owl, vamp
Okay.
life. Yeah.
Not Van Flav, not Bebo, not like. Okay, before we get out of here, where can the people keep up with you and follow all of the amazing things you're doing?
Well, I would say they shouldn't. No, because nothing great's happening. No, I'm just kidding. But
Well,
you can follow me on Instagram at Miles Please Shut Up. I can be found on Facebook, Miles Hopkins, and also LinkedIn, Miles Hopkins. I have my face as the profile picture on all of those. So yeah.
okay, thank you, Miles. You can also see him on your Facebook ads with his Richmond government video that might pop up on your Facebook. Yes. Thank you, Miles, for being here. I had a great time.
Likewise. So, oh, sorry.